Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling y'all what I want to read in March, also known as my March TBR. Okay, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first book that I am going to be reading in March is All In by Emma Scott. This is a duet with the book Full Tilt I already read in February, which I will be telling you about in my February reading wrap up. I can tell you absolutely nothing about All In though, because it'll spoil Full Tilt, which I literally can tell you nothing. Like, it will spoil the first book for you, which is why I can't tell you anything, but I love the first book, and that's all I'm gonna say. I think I like this one too. I don't know if I like it more, but I'm very excited to read this one. Okay, so the next book I want to read is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I'm very excited to read this book because I like how Colleen Hoover writes her books, because romance isn't always the driving point, like in It Ends With Us and Reminders of Him, it seems like, but again, I haven't read these books, so I don't know what it's actually going to be like, but I'm guessing that it's more of a woman's fiction than a romance, but there's also romance in it as a subplot, which is one of my favorite things ever. That's why Colleen Hoover is one of my favorite authors, because she does it so well. But again, I haven't read it, so I don't know like the actual, like, wouldn't be able to describe the book as well as if I've actually read it, so I just kind of summarized what I kind of know about the book without spoiling it, of course, because why would I tell you a spoiled book, you know? Okay, so this book is about Kenna, and she serves 5 years in prison. After she's released, she decided she wanted to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter. But when Kenna goes back to the people that are in her daughter's life, they say, no, we don't want you with her. I don't know why she went to jail, so maybe that's why, but they just don't want her in her daughter's life, except Ledger is the only person that is okay with Kenna being in her daughter's life again. And it seems like, again, like it seems like this book is going to be more about Kenna and her daughter more than Kenna and Ledger, but I think I'll still like it. Like, this is one of the books I think I love, and I think I'll give 5 stars. I don't know why I've been putting it off, but I'm very excited to read it. Okay, so the next book on my March TBR is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I genuinely did not know much about this book. It was a book that I kind of just bought because I've been wanting to read, and it's been on my TBR for like quite a while now. I think maybe it hasn't, I don't know. Feels like it has, so I'm gonna just go with that. So I went on Goodreads, looked up the synopsis, and kind of just like made a little summary of what it seemed to be about, but I still am just a little bit confused about what it's about, but that's fine with me. So it seems like this book is about 2 teenagers. The guy, he's super popular, star of the soccer team, and the girl's just kind of lonely, just kind of like, not someone that you would like, I don't know what the word is, not someone that you would like notice in the halls because she's like all crazy, you know? Yeah, does that make sense? And the guy's like super popular and star of the soccer team, like someone you would definitely notice in the hall. Does that make sense? In the hall, I mean, by hall I mean like school hall, by the way. I feel like I should just specify that. And then they go to the same so they meet first, and then they go to the same college, and they have a connection, but the roles kind of switch up, and the girl seems to be very comfortable in college and just happy with her life, and the guy seems to be like just kind of confused and feels like he doesn't fit in. So it seems to me that this book is more realistic fiction with maybe a subplot of romance, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I don't really want to know until I read the book, to be honest. So that's what we're just going to guess it's about so far. Okay, so the next book I want to read, I have absolutely no explanation for, but it is Rumple Buttercup by Matthew Gray Gubler. All I have to say is that anyone can read a picture book. So give this a thought. Picture books and children's books are written by adults. As a kid, there was not a single book that I read that was written by a child. So why is it that children's books are not normalized to be read by other people? Do you know what I mean? It just makes no sense. Like, a 40-year-old is writing a book for children, and it is not normalized for me, a not 5-year-old child to be reading this book? It doesn't make any sense. So that's my explanation for that book. Just give it a thought, Why haven't we normalized it at this point? Okay, so the next book I want to read is One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. This is the book after One of Us is Lying, which I read in 2021. If you want to know what I thought about that book, then go to my 2021 reading wrap-up, which will be linked in the description if you want to. I think it's the third book on my channel, maybe, but not very important right now. So One of Us is Next is in the same high school. It's still in Bayview High, and I think there's 3 main characters. There's Phoebe, Maeve, and Knox, and yes, it's Maeve Bronwyn's sister from the first book. I'm pretty sure the other 2 characters are connected by a neighbor, like one of them's a neighbor, and I'm pretty sure one of them might be a friend. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but there's those 3, and then instead of the app like it was in One of Us is Lying, it is a game. It is Truth or Dare, and the first target is Phoebe, then Maeve, and Knox. I'm hoping there's a little bit of romance sprinkled in the way it was in One of Us is Lying, and I'm hoping there's an update on the One of Us is Lying couple. I don't want to say who because I feel like that would spoil it, and maybe it's not a big spoiler, but still I just want to keep that just open to anyone who hasn't read it yet. I'm very excited to read this one, and I'm hoping I definitely read it this month because I've been wanting to read it since I read the first book. So yeah, that's it for that book. So the next book is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I've been wanting to read this book for like over a year, but lately it seems like everybody started to hate it, so I was kind of just kind of forgetting about it, but I finally decided to buy it, and I kind of want to read it this month. Obviously, because that's why it's in this video, but I didn't really know much about the book, actually. I just, heard a lot about it at the time, and then I was like, okay, what? Yeah, I want to read this book. So, I don't know if I'll end up liking it or not. I guess that's kind of the point of reading it, right? To find out if I like it, and I guess you'll find out if I do actually read it, what I think of it, in my March reading wrap-up. So, I think this is a friend group or family mystery. Something happens to the main girl, Cadence. She suffers a head injury, and she can't remember anything, and she needs to remember something, something traumatic. I'm pretty sure something traumatic happens to her, and she keeps thinking of it, but she doesn't, know what it is, maybe. I'm not sure if that's 100% correct. It's going to be really embarrassing if that's, not what it's about at all, but hopefully that's correct. That was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Okay, so I have a few maybes for this month as well, so these aren't, definitely on my TBR, but if I feel like reading them, I'm going to. So, in the month of February, the first books I read was the first book in the Chloe Brown. It was the Chloe Brown book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I wasn't a fan of it, so I kind of put off the rest of the trilogy, but I heard the first book is everybody's least favorite, so I was like, okay, you know what, I should probably read the other ones now, I've heard they're better, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll read them, I'll finally get to them, but I just haven't yet. I just haven't had the urge to, because at first I didn't like the first book, as I already said, but they're in a third point of view, and I'm not a huge fan of romances that are from a third point of view. I love romances that are from a first point of view. I just have to be in a certain mood to read third point of view, just particularly with romance books. Other ones, not as bad, but I just feel like the book becomes better, but obviously, if the author wants to write from a third point of view, don't be upset, but just saying for me personally, I like first point of view romances. So maybe I'll get to the rest of the Chloe Brown Sisters trilogy. Okay, so the second maybe is I've been wanting to get into Mariana Zapata books because I have the physical copy of Culty, but I want to read it in the reading order. There's not a particular reading order, but there's a connection between the books and the order of the publishing order. So her first book ever published is Lingus, which I'm actually going to skip because I'm just not interested in that book. I've heard that it's not that good compared to her other books, and it's just not something that I'm interested in, so I'm going to be skipping that book. But the book after that is Underlock. I'm going to read it on my Kindle because I'm 99% sure that all of her books are on Kindle, so hopefully it is. Crossing my fingers that if I do want to get to it, that it'll be there. But I've just been kind of putting it off lately because I just have not been in the mood to read long books. I don't know why. I have to be in a certain mood to be able to pick up a book that's long. Like her books are like at least 500 pages, or close to 500 pages, or more than 500 pages. And I love a slow burn romance, which is why I want to read her books. I just have not been in the mood for them lately. So maybe I'll read one this month, maybe I won't. But I have the physical copy of Culty, so I'm gonna read it eventually. I've been in the mood to read Culty lately, and I'm like, I kind of want to read them in their reading order because there's like little connections. And I just like noticing those. Like if you read them right away and you're like, oh my god, I remember that from the first book. It's just kind of like fun. It just makes the book a little bit more fun, you know? Okay, so that's all I have to say for that. Little maybe I'm gonna read it this month. Maybe I won't. Okay, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully I can get to all the books that I have planned for March. But if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on your post notifications if you want to. Again, it's optional, you don't have to. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in my next upload. Bye!